I never get tired of saying it. Welcome back to another beautiful day in the Arizona desert. It is 10 a.m. and 72 degrees and not a cloud in the beautiful sky. On the agenda for today, I think it's going to be really simple today. It is a Saturday and I don't want to beat myself up too bad. But on the agenda for today, now that I have this thing ready to run again, or almost ready to run, at least try to get ready to run again, I need to get some flush and some water, and I'm going to put coolant in it, but first I want to make sure that I'm not going to be throwing away another gallon of coolant, so I'm going to fill it with water and flush and run it for a bit, and then flush all that out and put coolant in it. Hopefully all that goes well. And last time I had it running before I realized I was going to have to replace the freeze plugs and quit, I couldn't get it to idle. I completely rebuilt the carb, if you remember right. I tanked it, I ran it through the ultrasonic cleaner. I'm 97% sure none of the idle passages are plugged up, but I couldn't get it to idle. So I'm thinking maybe I've got a vacuum leak. So I have the U-Diag tool that I reviewed a while back. The smoke leak detector sitting here. I have just tested it. It still blows smoke. And inside my FlashForge Adventure 5M is busy printing up a cap for that carburetor, so help me keep the smoke in. I'm not sure I have enough filament left on that spool to do it, but I got lots of odds and ends of filament up there, and this has a filament out sensor that will pause it so I can swap the filament if I need to. While we're waiting for that to finish printing, let's get a bottle of the Prestone cooling system cleaner in it and fill it the rest of the way up with water. Now have the quart of Prestone coolant system cleaner in it and 3 gallons or almost 3 gallons of the finest Arizona tap water. Okay, it has stopped. And it says, don't know if you can read that, not detected the filament. So it stopped because it's out of filament. Here's a little bit of white. Let's stick this in. Well, here is our finished product. Does seem to be tall enough. Probably just want to put something heavy on it to keep it pushed down. There we go, blowing smoke out. Can you see that? Blowing good smoke out. Let's see if we can get it poked in there. Well, I see it coming somewhere out of over there. Is it coming out from under our cover? I think that's coming out from under our cover. Oh, I got something big coming out under here. What's that? Oh, I got a completely open port under there. Can you see that? See if I can get the camera down there. I have a completely open port down there. There's your problem, mister. All right, I have that plugged up. Let's fire the smoke maker up and try again. I went through this on the CJ7. Sometimes you just have to blow the smoke away from where you don't want it to see around everywhere else. I don't see it coming out of anywhere else. All right, I think that was my only leak. Yay. And you can turn down the amount of smoke that comes out with this knob. That is one thing I like about, that's one thing I like about this one more than that previous one, is the ability to control the amount of smoke that comes out of it. All right, I think that was my leak. Here we go again. Key is on. My choke, my vacuum leak is fixed. Choke is completely closed. Give it a couple pumps. Be nice to get it warmed up a little bit, but kind of hard to do when you got to sit here and constantly fiddle with the choke. Let's turn the idle screws out a little bit more. Okay, I have backed the idle screws out another half turn each. Let's see if that helps at all. I should have fuel right in there. I should be able to shake the car from side to side and fuel should come out, and it doesn't. Maybe that's my problem. It does not want to work for me for some reason. Let's back that out a little bit more. I really do want to see fuel coming out of there. So I pulled the fuel bowl off. There was no fuel in the bowl at all. I know I had fuel pressure here because it was squirting all over the place. So let me pop this apart, see if I can figure out what's going on with it. Okay, I did a little bit of adjustment. Just also wanted to make sure I didn't see anything I thought was wrong. And I really don't. So I'm going to kind of pop it back all back together now and see if we can't see why we're not getting any fuel. I see something. I see the float raising up now. What the heck is going on? The float went way down. That float is staying all the way down at the bottom. That is not what is supposed to be happening. Hey, now the float's coming up again. Now the float level's all the way back to maximum. I don't remember ever having this happen on a Holley carburetor before. I mean, the float's all the way back up and the fuel level's right at the sight glass line. Look at that, huh? Look at that. When the float stays up, it idles fine. I've messed around with more Holley carburetors than I can count on the fingers of both hands and feet and toes. But I don't remember one behaving like this before. Sometimes the float doesn't come up. So if the float was sticking down, even if the float didn't come up, the fuel level would, and I'd be flooding. But the fuel level isn't coming up. So that's either something wrong with the pump, but yet I have never not had fuel squirt out of every place when I loosen something. So I don't think it's a problem with the pump. The only other thing it can really be, because I mean I've got fuel coming out of here, but not going into here. So the only really thing it can be is the needle and seat. So it absolutely could be a bad brand new seat. So I may have to pick up another one if that problem persists. But I've also learned that it will run an idle now that I have that vacuum leak fixed. As long as there's fuel in the bowl, it'll run an idle. It still doesn't seem like it's running as good as it should. And that might just be because still, once again, how long it's been since it's run. I've still got a lifter making lots of noise. A lifter making lots of noise combined with an engine that isn't running on all 8 is not really a good sign. That could be a bad cam lobe, it could be a bent valve, it could be a number of things. But I really want to have the engine running longer before I start tearing stuff apart and blaming it on things. Anyway, I think I'm going to call that it for today, and I think I'll come back out tomorrow and see if I can't get this to run a little bit longer. Good morning, everybody, to a beautiful day in the Arizona desert. What I would like to do today on the Mustang, it is a Sunday, so I do kind of want to take it easy, but what I would like to do is something I have not yet been able to do, and that's get this thing idling and get it warmed completely up. Because of the leaky freeze plugs, the other leaks here and there, the manifold leak, I've never been able to really get this thing to idle long enough to warm completely up. That's my goal for today. I think I should be ready to do it. I don't think there's anything left, assuming that inlet needle on that float, stays working in my favor. So let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. I'm going to put the choke on, give it a few pumps, and here we go. Nothing? Come on now. I let that run for 15 minutes and actually only showing 123 degrees at the radiator, cylinder head, hottest spot down there, maximum's 137, so nothing really got very hot. I'm not even sure that completely warmed up. Of course, down by the exhaust manifold we're up to 380, but hottest spot at the engine, what is that, one of the hoses? Yeah, that's one of the hoses. Hottest spot at one of the hoses there is 142. Manifold in the back, all those bright lines, they're the hoses. Manifold back there is 90 degrees, so nothing got too terribly hot in 15 minutes of running. Unfortunately, my lifter tick did not go away either, and it still feels like it's only running on, I don't know, it's not running good, let me tell you that. It's running good enough to idle. I tried pulling the pulling plug wires to see if I could see if one plug was worse than the other, but unfortunately I don't have a pair of double insulated pliers for that, and it was zapping me pretty good, so I gave up on that. I got a little bit of fuel leakage around the bowl, maybe the accelerator pump. I don't know. I'm going to have to address that. Like I say, this isn't the carburetor I really want on this car anyway. And I do have a rebuild kit for the one I want. So at some point, I'm going to have to put the kit in that other one and clean it and swap them. And when I'm going to do that, I don't know. I might do it right away. I need something else for that car, but I can't remember. Oh, it was the fuel inlet. It has that crossover tube. And I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do about that. Either make one. I'd like to get it running better with this carburetor on it. All right. I'm pretty happy with that for today. I think that's a big milestone for me with this, to get this to sit here and idle for 15 minutes. And nothing poured out underneath. Those spots were already there. And I'm not unhappy at all with this. Gonna disconnect the battery. So what's next? Well, I have to fix my little fuel leak there. I want to run it for a little longer before I drain and change the oil and flush the coolant completely out. Maybe run it another half an hour before I do that. But then I want to do the coolant system flush and try and get more of that garbage out of the cooling system. I want to change the oil and maybe get a double or triple dose of something in there to try and free that lifter up. I need to bleed the brakes. I need to get some brake pedal. And I noticed that and it's not something I'm going to need to worry about now, but it's something that's going to have to go on the list. The brake light switch fell apart on me, which is a sucky job for me up under the dash, but it's something I'm going to have to do. And what else? I want to make sure the transmission will shift through the gears. And can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Obviously, I'm going to need an air cleaner, and apparently I got rid of the air cleaner body. I was probably thinking, I can get one of these at any wrecking yard for $20. Why bother keeping this old one? And I tossed it, not realizing it was a special part for this car, not just any 390 Mustang, 390 Ford air cleaner, not something that they put on pickup trucks or something. And I kept the lid, but I got rid of the rest of it. Or somebody liked it more than me. I don't really remember. It's been too long. So I got to come up with something for that. I doubt I'm going to spend $300 for a beat up, rusty old Ford F100 390 or 352 air cleaner. I'll probably just put something aftermarket on it. I'm kind of pretty happy I'm not getting the fuel filter filled up with trash. That in itself is impressive. I don't know. I guess that's enough for now. So I think I'm going to bag it and enjoy the rest of my Sunday, and I'll worry about coming out here tomorrow and figuring out what else I need to do. Anyway, thanks for coming out and enjoying my happy little Sunday. We got this running and idling for 15 minutes. That's a good thing, right? And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.